Hey guys, this is 242 here. Today I'm going to read you 3 stories from the subreddit Legal Advice. So sit back, relax, and let's get started with these stories. So our first story is, Neighbor entrusts me with looking after pets/house for 3 weeks. It has been almost a year now and they haven't come back. Today their basement flooded and I have no idea what to do. In June 2019, my neighbor came to my door. I had some experience with them. They invited us to a barbecue not long after they moved in. They asked me and my wife to look after their pets and their house for the next 3 weeks as they need to return to Taiwan as his mother was dying. They even left me $500 for food for their German Shepherd and their cat. I don't know what happened to them, but they just never came back. I don't know if they ended up in some sort of prison or decided just not to come home at all. Today I found out their basement had flooded, probably sometime within the last week. Apparently a pipe burst, but the entire basement is completely effed. I paid to have a leak fixed and spent all day today using a shop vac to drain their basement to the best of my ability. Between this and one of their dogs needing surgery, I have spent several $1,000s of my own money, and frankly the damage to the basement was pretty awful. I don't have their insurance paperwork, and I don't really know if I can even do a claim for them. On top of this, his 2 giant German Shepherds, while they are good boys, it has become almost too much for us to handle. Their last name is extremely common and their Facebook profiles are private, which gives me very little avenue to track this down. Timeline: June 7th, 2019. Neighbor asked if I'd like to look after their pets and their house while they're handling the death of his mother back in Taiwan. Told me be 3 weeks at the latest. July 1st, 2019. Neighbor sent me an email stating that they need some additional time to handle his father's affairs. He apologizes and says he'll be back by July 15th at the latest. July the 21st, 2019. Sent him an email asking what was going on. Explained how we're going on vacation in August. Never got a response. July 31st, 2019. Tried calling him on his cell phone. Number he gave me was no longer in service. August 14th, 2019. Went on vacation. Had my brother look after all 4 dogs for the next week. September the 2nd, 2019. Emailed him again. No response. September the 3rd, 2019. Tried to reach him and his wife via Facebook using the private messaging feature. September the 6th, 2019. Ended up moving his 2 dogs and 1 cat into our house as they seemed extremely miserable. I ended up disassembling part of our adjoining fence to allow his dogs to use their outdoor area. November the 19th, 2019. One of his dogs started showing signs of being ill. Brought him to the vet. Turns out he is suffering from medium severe case of IVDD. He ended up requiring surgery, which we paid for. January the 21st, 2020. Sent another email, never got a response. Today, when I was bringing his mail into his house, I noticed it smelled pretty awful, and I quickly discovered his basement had had a foot of water in it. Questions: what exactly is my level of responsibility in this? I agreed to look after it for a few weeks/couple of months at most. It's almost been a year now. Is there anything I can do? Location: Ontario, Canada. Sorry, some other points. I'm assuming they have some sort of auto payment for bill setup because they still have hydro, cable, and internet. I am unsure where exactly the husband worked. I know he said he was an engineer. However, I can't find a link in his profile, so I don't know what company. Their last name is a very common name, common like Wong, which gives me a ton of Facebook results. I'm really not sure how you guys are feeling about this, but this feels very fishy to me because, that's their whole house, their pets. Where have they gone to for them to be gone this long? This is not normal. Something has gone wrong and I'm not sure where to go from here. But let's see what the comments say about that. Nared says, do you know whether they're Canadian or Taiwanese citizens? If they are Canadian, you might be able to try and contact the Canadian Embassy in Taiwan. Copper Captive says, property tax records would have their full name assuming they own. You should contact the police and tell them what is going on. Expatinapa says, you have no responsibility for the house, so ignore that at the moment. You have no legal responsibility for the pets, but I'm assuming you are attached to them, so don't want to turn them over to animal control. I have to say you sound like a neighbor from heaven, but your only responsibility in this situation is to actively avoid causing harm. You don't have to do anything to fix the house or negate damage. In my view, the only thing you need to consider is how to handle the animals that have been fostered upon you, and that is it. A lot of people down below have said to contact the police. OP has an update after this, so let's go there next. So here's the update. Good news! I followed everyone's advice and reached out to the police and the embassy. Explained the situation and gave them a bunch of information. Tonight I got a phone call from them explaining they just decided to stay much longer and spend time with his family/friends. They apparently asked his wife's brother to come and collect the animals and get the key a long time ago, back in August, and never followed up on it. He apologized and said he was sorry. He gave me 2 options, and asked if I wanted to keep his pets since I've had them for so long, or he will push his stepbrother to get the animals. Apparently the animals really don't mean anything to him and his wife, which I feel is quite shitty. He apparently can no longer access his email and has passed me along a new email and phone number I can use to contact him. But he told me he doesn't have plans to return to Canada anytime soon. I mentioned the water damage and he just said he will buy a new house or get it fixed when he gets back. He is also quite confused and somewhat annoyed about the lengths we went to get in touch with him. He didn't understand why we reached out to the embassy. He then offered to send me a bunch of money to square away the inconvenience, and that was more or less it. I don't know if this is a culture thing, however I feel a little peeved off at how little he and his wife seem to care about his pets in his house. Anyway, me and my wife are going to keep the pets simply because we don't think that either of us can part with the dogs and his cat at this point. And that's the end of it, and all I can say is, wow, I thought they were dead. I really thought they were dead, and now I'm just a little mad. Tell me what you guys feel down in the comments about this one. Hey guys, before we continue, I just want to remind you, like all YouTubers do, to hit that like button, to subscribe, and to hit the bell icon so you know when I upload new videos. You know, like all us YouTubers do. But with that, we'll continue on. So our next story is, I think my boyfriend has been drugging me to make me forget things. He is a doctor. Hey, so I must apologize if this is jumbled a bit. I started typing it up in Word yesterday before my date, and forgot about it before finishing it today. I think my boyfriend has been secretly drugging me for a while now, and is gaslighting me. I know this is going to be hard to explain, but I've been having gaps in my memory that have been explained away by being tired or overworked or whatever else. I was going to ask my boyfriend about it, since he is a doctor, but then I started to notice that this seems to happen when I go on dates with him. I know it must be crazy, but I have woken up with dried semen on my breast several times with no memories of the night before. I know it's him as, well, I won't get into specifics, but he likes that kind of thing more than other guys would. The first time it happened was when we were drinking and I wrote it off as too much to drink. We get drunk and have sex all the time, so it's not a big deal to me. But then there was a few times when I know we were not drinking. I decided to break up with him over it only to suddenly find myself on a date with him a few days later. I had not yet had the conversation to break up with him, but planned on it the next time I talked to him. I remember being at the restaurant, but nothing before that. My car and his car was in the parking lot too, so I was confused. I decided to play along when he asked me to come back to his place. After 3 days at his place, I remembered everything, so I was starting to trust him again. Knowing he was an ENT, I know it won't be his forte, but he is a doctor. I was going to ask him about my issue when he randomly pointed to these red bumps on my thighs and said I should be treating those sores. I had completely forgotten they were there. These little red bumps look like needle injections that got infected. The next day he came over to check on me, and I remember waking up in bed with more dried semen on my chest. Then today he met me for lunch saying we had agreed to meet. I never agreed to meet with him and would have never wanted to. He does this all the time, saying we agreed to do something I have no memory of. I'm sick and tired of it and want him punished. This has started to affect my work life, as well as I started to get paranoid when my boss walks into a room after making eye contact with me. I get paranoid that they are about to fire me. My friend also states that I have been acting strangely and out of character, have even begun to lose sleep and sleepwalk when I do. Is there a way to have blood work done to see what kind of drugs he's using on me? I do not want the police to blow me off and push me away as some crazy lady, so I want to be damn sure when I go to the police. I know this is easier to see because I'm an outside person looking in, but her blaming her boyfriend is also a sign of paranoia. I don't think he's doing anything to her. I think something else is wrong. But let's go down to the comments and see what they say. Pure Applesauce says, OP, the mods received a message from a verified physician who claims that bedbugs cannot cause the symptoms you have described in your post. He or she strongly suggests that you visit a doctor to help, which seems prudent advice. The reason they're saying that is a bunch of people have said this is bedbugs, and I personally have had bedbugs, and I don't recall having these problems. Another person who deleted their name said, go see a doctor immediately. Let him know your concerns and what you have found in your mattress. For your peace of mind, get the rape kit done as well if you need it. Opie says that she found some dried chocolate or poop chunks along the stem of her mattress. If anyone hasn't seen a bedbug before, they're about the size of an apple seed and are kind of a reddish brown. And one more comment, Say9 says, I want to make it very clear that I do not doubt you, and in fact your fears are very possibly true. I do want to point out another possibility, although maybe less likely. Your memory lapse reminds me of a friend who experienced emerging schizophrenia, and the paranoia you mentioned seems like maybe it would fit. I can't help but wonder why he's pointed out the bumps if he caused them. Either way, you need immediate assistance from a sympathetic physician with distance from him. Please get help. I want to reiterate that I am not victim blaming or doubting, I'm just pointing out another important possibility. So a few people did lean towards the bedbugs at first, but we did get at the very beginning that this is not something bedbugs do. And it was nice to see someone say finally, hey, no, this is not bedbugs. Hey, it could be something psychological. So I'm really hoping OP got some advice and started talking to doctors, either being a physical or a psychological. And I hope she got the help she needed either way and got away from this boyfriend if he was the cause. But it's been a year since she updated, so most likely we're never going to get an update. But I really hope that this woman is okay now. And with that, I would like a comment on what you guys think, and we'll go on to the next story now. So our last story is, my female 18, mom, 49, has legal guardianship of me even though I'm an adult. I would like to remove it. I'm an 18-year-old girl who lives in Vermont. Shortly before I turned 18 in January, my mom requested the court for legal guardianship of me. I told her how uncomfortable the idea made me, but she would yell, scream, and tell me to suck it up. She told me there was two ways she could take guardianship of me, and those were involuntary guardianship and voluntary guardianship. In the involuntary guardianship scenario, we would both have to be appointed lawyers and we'd have to fight it out in court. In the voluntary guardianship scenario, we would sit down with the judge, talk about the ramifications of guardianship, sign some papers, and have it be a done deal. I went with the voluntary guardianship option because she threatened to punish me, not help me pay for college, and make my life a living hell. However, I may have recently discovered that this is not true voluntary guardianship. I was researching laws surrounding legal guardianship in Vermont, and I have discovered that voluntary guardianship would only have occurred if I had been the person to request it. Otherwise, it is an involuntary guardianship. If I am correct in my findings, then this means my mom filed my guardianship under my name without my knowledge or consent. Am I correct in believing this? Am I missing something? One day I may petition the courts to dissolve this legal guardianship, and this would be very helpful to know. I'm not exactly well versed with my legal matters, so please bear with me. Edit. This post blew up. Thank you all so much for your advice. One thing that came up in the comments that I didn't think to put in the post. I have high-functioning autism, which does affect my situation. Despite this, I am still capable of working, making decisions for myself, and being a contributing member of society. I don't know about you guys, but boy is this crazy. I really think she needs to go talk to a lawyer. But let me read some of the comments down below for you guys. Snowkilts says, this is what you need to do. Expect your mom does not get appointed a lawyer. She can hire one if she wants. You start by filling out a PAG 99 form to request that the guardianship be terminated. If the court orders any kind of evaluation of you, you need to cooperate with it. Courts will give a lot of weight to the evaluator's report. Do not believe anything your mom tells you about this, or at this point, really anything. As your legal guardian, your mom has virtually complete control over your life. You need to fight this with everything you have. Expect that you will be kicked out of the house and not have college or anything else paid for by your mother when this is over. Cat Outta Hell did reply to this. Thank you. I have been thinking that if I tried to terminate the guardianship, that I would do so once I'm in college and living on campus. This way, I will not be under her roof and enduring so many arguments with her. Currently, I'm just waiting to finish with high school and for college campus to open up again. So there's one more I want to read from Cracked Bell. I just have to tell you that people were saying your mom will try to pull you out of college. People were saying no, she can't do that because she has to prove that she has her interest in mind. So Cracked Bell's response is, no, under a guardianship is not about the best interest of a child. It's about the best interest of a ward. And the ward is already determined to be incapable of having a perspective on that. A ward has very few rights, depending on the state and the type of guardianship, and guardians have a broad latitude over how they are exercised. So based on what the letters say, OP may not have the right to go to school or do anything normal, like move out, get a job, or keep their earnings. Usually maximum independence is supposed to be encouraged, but OP's mom sounds wicked and at this point has both the authority over OP and the inclination to manipulate proceedings. OP, when you get a court-appointed attorney, tell them everything you've written here. You may think that some details are irrelevant, but attorneys need to know as much as they can, and definitely tell them anything that your mother says the court won't care about. Make sure you get a competency evaluation and cooperate fully, even if it means coming clean about the threats your mother has made. Ask about a referral to community mental health or something similar, and a caseworker can help you find out about housing, employment, and education on your own. So I really wanted to read that last one because I think it's the most helpful for OP, and I don't think OP is going to be updating after this, but I could be wrong. If they do update, I will definitely give you guys an update on this channel, but I'm hoping OP gets the help that they need. I'm really thinking that a lawyer is the route that they need to go down, and due to the circumstances, it sounds like they are entitled to an appointed lawyer, which means I think in the States they don't have to pay for it, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm Canadian, not American, and also not a lawyer. And with that, we have come to the end of the video. I really hope you guys enjoyed these stories. I tried to pick more ones with some updates, but this last one piqued my interest, so I thought I'd share it with you. It was only 3 days ago when I recorded this. So with that, I hope you guys have a good evening or day, and I hope you guys take care. Bye!